We just got back from an awesome week at Disney World and we ran the numbers and we are shocked.
We're here.
We took a $3,500 trip to Disney World for $900 out of pocket.
So we spent the last few years really kind of diving deep into credit cards, points, miles, that sort of thing. And we're going to show you how we did it.
So we knew we wanted to take Haven to Disney World before she turned 3 so that we didn't have to buy her a ticket. But we also knew that we wanted to bring along a babysitter. We were going during the Food and Wine Festival, which is our favorite time to go. So we wanted to make sure that we would have somebody to have an extra set of hands on Have when we're waiting in lines or riding other rides or just to help us out along the trip. We knew that Disney wasn't ever big on running deals for their tickets, but using credit card points, we could figure out a way to come out relatively cheap on the trip.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You've probably heard somebody tell you how bad credit cards are and, you don't manage your debt properly. You can end up with a lot of credit card debt, blah, 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 blah. What you rarely hear people talk about is how beneficial credit cards can be. For example, all of our everyday purchases we put on our Capital One VentureX card, which gives us 2 times miles per $1 spent. So every dollar that we spend, we get 2 miles on. And the nice thing about this credit card is it also has a bunch of other perks with it. It covers your car rental insurance, it has airport lounge access, as well as a bunch of other benefits that we'll talk about in another video. So let's dive into the details.
So the first thing that we wanted to do was buy the tickets. We've been keeping our eyes on for years. We know that Disney doesn't really do discounts. So we knew that we would have to be creative to figure out a way to get those tickets without technically getting a discount, but still finding a way to somehow save money on them.
So basically our Amex Gold card gives us 4 times points at grocery stores. And we knew that Disney gift cards were sold at Kroger. And so basically Kroger, they'll give you 4 times fuel points whenever you buy a gift card. So we bought $1,500 in gift cards from Kroger times 4 fuel points. So we ended up getting 6,000 fuel points, as well as, remember, I used my American Express Gold card. That gave me 4 times American Express membership reward points. And so that gave me 6,000 total Amex points. So let me break this down for you. 6,000 fuel points is the equivalent of up to $6 per gallon off on gas. So basically Kroger will let you use the $6 off per gallon up to 35 gallons. You can use it on multiple transactions. Basically Kroger gives you 10 cents off a gallon for every $100 that's spent. So basically that gives us $210 in value just for buying the gift cards at Kroger.
A couple side notes is that when you're redeeming your fuel points, you can only redeem them on 35-gallon purchases, up to 35 gallons at a time. And fuel points are only rewarded on transactions up to $1,999. So if you're buying 6 Disney tickets, for example, make sure you split up those transactions so you're getting all the fuel points that you possibly can.
Moving on, the 6,000 Amex points. Basically 6,000 Amex points can be transferred to different airlines of your choice depending on their transfer partners. And typically you would rate these at 1 to 2 cents per mile. Now I know what you're thinking, that's not a huge savings. In a future video, we'll cover all of the transfer partners and how to get the best value out of your Amex points. For instance, we're going to Dubai for New Year's. I transferred Amex points to Air Canada and I got about a 7 or 8 cent multiple per point. So that makes 6,000 Amex points valued at around $420 to $500, depending on how you can spend it.
So the next thing that we knew we needed to do was book our flights. And we do this a little differently than most people because we are blessed with a lot of flexibility in our schedules. So the best way that we recommend looking for flights and getting the best deals is being very flexible on your dates. Honestly, picking where you're going and then looking at the flight calendar to see when those dates are cheapest, and then making the rest of your schedule work around those cheap flights. Honestly, we find our flights and plan our dates around that is honestly how we do it. A couple other things that we wanted to keep in mind was that kids were going to be back in school. They go back to school end of August, early September. So to minimize crowds, we went during the week, and that helped out a little bit as well, I think.
We also wanted to make sure it was going to be cooling off and not super, super hot in the summer months. So when it came to booking our flights, we primarily fly Southwest when we're flying throughout the US. We have a Southwest credit card. Not to mention, Southwest has the easiest redemption when it comes to booking flights. You can usually book a flight as cheap as 5,000 or 6,000 miles one way. And of course, if you're looking at going to Mexico or something like that, depending on the time of the year, you might be able to get a flight in the 15,000 to 16,000 mile range one way. But that's still a great redemption. For 30,000 miles, you can pretty much go anywhere, just about any time of the year, as long as you find a good deal ahead of time. So what we did use points to book the Southwest flights. We had to book 4 flights total. Basically, we paid $5.60 per flight, so a total of $44.80. And if we paid cash, we would have been paying like $250 per ticket, somewhere around there. So that would be like $955 saved. Basically, we paid 9,000 points each way per ticket. So all in all, a really, really good savings there of $1,000 basically just by having points.
So after we booked our flights, we knew that we needed to figure out our parking situation for the week while we were going to be gone. So we used cheapparkfly.com, which is a group of hotels that are located near airports that offer parking and shuttles to and from airports so that you don't have to pay for airport parking. The rate at the Nashville parking lot, like just the general lots, is like $18 a day now. And the cheapparkfly.com hotel is $3 a day. So right off the bat, you're saving $15 a day. It ended up saving us $90. So just right there, saving $100 just by parking off property from the airport. It's literally a 7-minute shuttle, maybe 5 to 7 minutes to get you to your car. And everyone's so nice, so helpful, so quick. And we love saving money doing that.
Yeah, and Cheap Park Fly is actually all over the United States. We just like them, and like she said, it's very cheap. $3 a day, can't really beat it.
So the next thing that we had to decide was where we wanted to stay, whether that was going to be an Airbnb, a regular hotel, or a hotel on Disney property.
So there's a lot of pros and cons to each of these. Depending on your scenario, one may make more sense for your situation, so you just have to decide that. Basically, in 2016, we went to Disney. We ended up staying at like a Holiday Inn off property that didn't end up having a shuttle. So it was kind of a pain. We had to pay for parking, we had to wait in traffic, and we knew that when we were bringing our daughter this time, that wasn't something that we wanted to deal with. If she needed a nap throughout the day, if we just wanted to go back and relax at the hotel, we wanted to be able to take advantage of that. At the same time though, we also knew that some of the Disney properties were a pretty penny. And so we wanted to do this trip kind of on a budget. That way we can splurge once we got there.
So excited? Yeah!
Airbnbs are usually our go-to when it comes to traveling, but we knew that the Airbnbs weren't super close to Disney, so we'd have to pay for parking, or we would have to pay for an Uber, and we had a daughter that was in a booster seat, so that kind of gets tricky when you're having to figure out transportation with a kid who's in booster and a car. So that kind of crossed the Airbnb option off the list for us.
So taking all this into consideration and looking at all of our options, we ended up finding the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista Hotel. And since it's right across the street from Disney Springs, and it's also a Disney affiliated hotel, we decided to stay there. Basically what that meant is we were able to take advantage of some of the perks, like getting into the parks a little early, just by staying at this hotel.
So we ended up loving our hotel. The main deciding factors were it had a really nice outdoor splash pad area and pool where we could hang out, spend some time on that off day. We actually ended up going to the pool almost every single night after we got back from the parks because it was open until 10. We got the early entrance to the Disney parks. It was super close to Disney Springs, and it had one of those nice overpass walkways, so you don't even have to cross the road, like literally just up, over, and you're there. It had the free transportation included from the hotel to the Disney parks, and they were actually really nice buses. Everyone that worked on the buses was super nice. Kevin, shouts out, you're the coolest. It was a Wyndham property, so we were able to use points to book it, and that was incredible. That saved so much money right there. And it was really nice. The rooms had refrigerators and freezers inside of them so that you could refrigerate water bottles, freeze them for the next day. And there's a microwave in the lobby in case you travel like us with oatmeal and packs of mac and cheese for your kids who don't eat anything else. With that, definitely pack your own snacks because I did pay $5 for a Capri Sun by the pool. Don't do that.
So there's actually 2 hotels at this property, the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista, which is like the newer tower section of the hotel, and then the Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista, which has like the outward facing like kind of motel rooms. The great thing about it is regardless of which one you pick, they both pretty much get the same amenities. You get access to the pool, you get access to the buses, to the parks, you have the same access to restaurants, etc. We use points to be able to book this hotel. Basically, we have the Wyndham Earner Business Credit Card, which gives us 8 times points on gas purchases, as well as 5 times points on ads. So with Wyndham, you have 3 different redemption categories: 7,500 points, 15,000 points, and 30,000 points per night. And so the Wyndham Garden Lake was a 15,000 point redemption per night. And then the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista in the tower was a 30,000 point redemption per night. If you have the credit card, you also get an additional percentage off. I believe it's a 10% off on points spent. So we had 150,000 points. We got a 10% off discount. So we ended up only spending 135,000 points to book the hotel for the week.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
So going into this trip, we knew that we were trying to kind of do it on a budget and that we wanted to bring everything possible with us to not have to buy it and in Florida, because we figured it'd be more expensive there, and it definitely was. So we found a diaper bag full of tons of different like little goodies and surprises for Haven that she didn't see before we went, like little princess things, one of those spray fans, stickers. We went ahead and we ordered the signature books from Amazon, got those in the mail ahead of time. Walmart, TJ Maxx, and Ross all usually carry Disney items that are cheaper than what you pay for at Disney stores or Disney property.
Keep in mind, like, all this stuff is optional. Obviously, if you have a toddler, you know that as soon as you walk into a store, everything is exciting, especially when you're at Disney. And then you look at those price tags and you're like, gosh, I could have bought this at Walmart, or gosh, I could have got this on Amazon for a third of the cost. So thinking ahead, we knew that regardless of whether we bought it at Disney or whether we bought it on Amazon, the quality was going to be the same, and she was going to be just as excited, and so we took that route.
Yeah. Another big thing is having water bottles for everybody. Reusable water bottles will be a lifesaver and a money saver. We spent about $35 on waters the first day we were there because we just kept buying bottled water. And then we realized that you could just ask for cups of water and they'll just give you cups of water, and that we should have brought like a hydro flask. We saw tons of hydro flasks there. That would have been a great investment. We ended up Ubering to CVS the first night that we were there and bought a case of water. Took back to our hotel, put all the bottles in the fridge and freezer, and took them into the park with us the following days. Saved a lot of money that way as well, but definitely if you can, grow a hydro flask and a reusable water bottle to take with.
Yeah, that was something that just totally slipped our mind. Typically when you go places like a theme park or whatnot, you can't bring in outside food, you can't bring in outside water. Well, Disney's not like that, and so we just totally forgot to even look into it. So we got there, like she said, $35 on the first day in just water bottles, and definitely made that up on the next day. I think it was like $7 for a 24 pack of water at CVS, and we froze those bottles and they lasted all day throughout Disney. And then when we needed to, we just filled them up, at water fountains and whatnot.
Yeah, and then if you have a kid that likes juice, we packed those hydration packs, just those little packets for the water bottles. You just pour them in and then you have juice. So much cheaper, so much less sugar than sodas and whatever else, so much less expensive than buying stuff from the concession stands every single time you want to drink. So having a toddler, we knew that we wanted to have a stroller, someplace where she could lay down throughout the day, because she doesn't take naps every single day, but she definitely gets tired and wants places to be able to relax and just have her own space. Our stroller, unfortunately, was 2 inches too big for the Disney parameters, so our options were to either rent one from Disney or rent one from OrlandoStrollerRentals.com. We chose to go with OrlandoStrollerRentals.com and had an amazing experience. It was $86 for the stroller rental for the 5 days that we had it. They dropped it off at the concierge desk in the hotel. We walked down there and picked it up, drove it up to our room, took it out with us for the week, and then they picked it up right from the hotel desk as well. So it was super convenient and really nice. We were able to shove all of our water bottles underneath the bottom of the stroller. grab them out of there as we needed them. The stroller was super comfortable. Haven loved it. And as we were like walking around passing all the Disney strollers, it like reinforced my decision. And I'm so glad that I rented the one that I did, because those Disney strollers are like the hard plastic, like you wipe them down with a sanitary wipe, and like they have like a tiny canopy over the top, and it was so hot. And the stroller that we ended up renting was the Bob Revolution stroller, and it was amazing. It had a great giant canopy over the top to keep Haven shaded in the sun. She ended up sleeping in there multiple times, and she loved it. I would absolutely rent from them again, and also get that stroller again.
Yeah, another thing about the Disney strollers is they're per park. So basically, if you're staying on property or if you're staying off property, you have to go to Magic Kingdom, for instance. Once you get into the gate, then you can go pick up a stroller. You can use it throughout the park, but then when you're leaving Magic Kingdom, even if you're heading over to, let's say, Epcot, you're gonna have to drop the stroller off at the exit, pick up your kid, take them on the monorail over to Epcot, walk them through, and then get a stroller. Whereas when you rent a stroller or bring your own that's within their parameters, basically you can just come and go as you please. You can bring it on the monorail, you can bring it on the buses.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. If you rent a stroller from the Disney parks, you can't take it to Disney Springs. You can't take it back to your hotel. You can't take it anywhere besides that park that you're in. So you're in Orlando for a week without a stroller if you rent it from Disney. So we definitely found that helpful.
So like we said, we went to Disney in 2016, and that kind of gave us a game plan of what we were going to want to do on this trip. So basically, we wanted to do 3 days in the parks with park hopper passes, which allowed us to have the freedom to go between multiple parks. Word of wisdom here, definitely plan an off day if your schedule allows. It really, really helped us just all relax by the pool.
We went to Disney Springs.
We Ubered out of the Disney area. It was just a nice relaxing day with all the walking that you're gonna do throughout the parks and pushing of strollers and riding of rides. Definitely plan an off day if your schedule permits. Another thing we were hoping to do on Thursday morning was add a character breakfast, so that way Haven could be able to see all the characters and kind of enjoy that environment.
And since we were taking this trip with our daughter, we wanted to make sure that we had as many photos as possible. We are always the ones that are taking pictures. One of us is behind the camera, so we don't get that many pictures of all of us together. So we did decide to pay for the Memory Maker package. And basically they had cameras at some of the meet and greets. They had photographers all over the park. You could see your photos from the rides, and everything was saved to the app where you can download, save to your phone. And we also paid for the Genie Plus service, which allowed us to use the lightning passes so we could skip the line for some of the rides. And that was a lifesaver.
Yeah, traveling with a 3-year-old or an almost 3-year-old, there's not a thing such as waiting in lines. So we're grateful enough to be able to have the lightning passes, to be able to pre-plan a lot of the character meetups and just the rides that we knew we were going to want to hit that notoriously had long lines.
So we actually ended up going to 2 parks every single day that we were there. On Tuesday, we went to Magic Kingdom and Epcot. On Wednesday, we went to Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. And then on Friday, we went back to Magic Kingdom and Epcot again.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom was Haven's favorite. Tons of kids stuff to do there. Even if it's hot out, you can go relax inside the Dumbo tent. So at the Dumbo ride, basically they have an entire tent with an indoor air-conditioned playground. So that's kind of a little bit of a hack there. Go relax, let your kid run off some energy. You can go grab some Dole Whip or even our favorite, cream cheese pretzels at Tomorrowland. Epcot had the Food and Wine Festival going on, which is our favorite festival, being travelers and loving like all different countries and whatnot. Basically, there's a bunch of drinks and featured dishes from all over the world, and of course, we stuffed ourselves each night. The nice thing though is that they're just like little tasters, so you could really load up on, a beer, a wine, a pho, a little cheese raclette. Like there's so many different options out there, so definitely indulge.
Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios were also great parks. We were just such fast walkers, and they're a little bit smaller. They also had a couple rides that were more geared towards bigger kids, and obviously we can ride those with Have. I'm not a big roller coaster rider, so Tom and our babysitter Cecilia rode a couple rides while I stayed with Have. But overall, Haven's favorite rides were the Buzz Lightyear, Carousel, and Splash Mountain. So with Haven having her favorite rides picked out, we utilized the Genie Plus passes to strategically place those rides. At 7 in the morning, you can start booking your Genie Plus passes for the rides that you want to get on, the ones that are, gonna have the longer lines, the bigger rides, things like that. Then at 2 o'clock, you can switch your app to your second park if you're doing the park hopper and start booking your passes for your second park. The only thing is that we missed out on the Frozen ride at Epcot because we only went to Epcot for our second parks. We never did Epcot in the morning. So by the time we got there with our park hopper passes, all of the Genie Plus reservations for that day had already been taken. So we didn't get a chance to get on that ride. So if there's something that you're like, I have to be on this ride before I leave Disney, it might be a smart decision to make that park one of your morning parks so that you're making sure that you're gonna absolutely get on that ride, go there first, get it over with, and enjoy it. Because if it's your second park, you might not make it on the Genie Plus for the day.
Yeah, keep in mind too, we went late in September, so kids were in school. There weren't a lot of crowds. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people there, but there weren't a lot of crowds. The lines weren't crazy long. So I can only imagine going in the midst of the summer when everyone's out of school. Definitely want to be strategic in how you're going to plan your parks based off of the rides that you want to go on. Because like Courtney said, you may miss out on some of those rides, or you might find yourself waiting for 2 or 3 hours to meet Elsa.
Speaking of that, we did use the Fast Pass to meet Minnie and Mickey, and that was a great experience. We did that at the Magic Kingdom. Highly recommend that. Haven got just such an amazing personalized experience where she got to spend, probably 5 minutes by herself with Minnie and Mickey, dancing and having so much fun. I would highly recommend if you have kids to use one of your Fast Passes to get in there. It was a great experience.
Yeah, it was truly amazing. Basically, they put you behind closed doors with Minnie and Mickey in your own private group. We went to probably 4 or 5 other character meetups where you're kind of in a line. It's like an assembly line where you're just like walking through, and then you get to stop for 45 seconds with each character. And while all the characters do a really, really good job of trying to make it personalized, you can't help but the kid in the back, who's going crazy, or the kid in front who's having a meltdown. Not saying that our kid doesn't do that, but it's not as personalized as what the Minnie and Mickey meetup was in Magic Kingdom. So if you're gonna choose one to do, we'd highly recommend the Minnie and Mickey character experience in Magic Kingdom. So as we had mentioned, we wanted to do character dining, and we wanted to do that on Thursday for our off day. You have to be careful when you're booking these character dinings, because if you're planning it on an off day, but it's a character dining that's inside of a park, you do have to have a ticket in order to get there. Luckily with Chef Mickey's, which is what we were trying to book, it's actually at a hotel, and so we don't have to worry about needing tickets or anything like that. Now with character dining, it's kind of a convoluted process. So basically 60 days before your first reservation to the park, you can start booking character dining. Basically from like 5:45 a.m. to 6 a.m., anywhere within that window, they start showing up online to be able to book in the portal. However, we woke up every single day that week that we had reservations, and at 5:45, 6 a.m. Now, disclaimer, we own our own businesses. We're not people who wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. We don't really live that life, or at least I don't. And so it was a little bit of a feat. We did get up trying to book every single one of them. Each time was not available. We didn't know whether it was like an issue on our app or whatnot, but we could not find anything available for Chef Mickey's. There was a bunch of other options out there, but none of the days that we wanted to book were available. So we started getting a little discouraged, but on the same hand, we didn't really need to build our entire vacation around going to Chef Mickey's.
So after we went through that week and didn't get any of those reservations, we waited a little while, and then as our vacation came a little closer, we decided to pay $10 for Mouse Watcher. And what Mouse Watcher does is it sends you a notification when those reservations become available. So you'll get a text and an email. And after about 60 notifications and about 30 attempts, we finally got a reservation for Chef Mickey's at like 11:45 a.m. on Thursday, which ended up being perfect. We could sleep in a little bit. We could slowly make our way on the monorail to the hotel where the breakfast was. So it was super nice that we were able to just use our free transportation that we already had available to get to and from that breakfast. Was just so nice.
I was definitely getting discouraged. I was like, man, we just paid freaking $10 for this app or for this service. And every single time, like, there was a couple times where I missed the notification, I was busy or whatnot, but there would also be times where I had my phone in my hand and I would see a reservation pop up for Chef Mickey's through a text message. I'd click on the link, I'd already be signed in, and then it would say reservation not available. Literally 30 to 35 times that happened, and I was like, this is probably just a scam. Until the week of. The week of is when all these reservations were starting to get like canceled from people that booked multiples. Maybe they got in a little earlier or whatever the case may be, they would start canceling. And so we kind of had our free pick the week of what time we wanted to do it. And so we were able to get in and get it booked. Overall though, Chef Mickey's was a pretty awesome experience. Tons of food, great service. However, we did arrive and they said that Minnie and Daisy were out getting their nails done or something, which are arguably two of Haven's favorites. So kind of a hard swallow for a $45 meal. And then the purpose was to see, characters and whatnot. I guess beggars can't be choosers. Not a complaint, not digging on them or anything. I understand that all the characters can't be there every single day. But when you have a daughter and the two girl characters aren't there, what do you do?
Yeah, it kind of sucked. She was so excited to see Minnie. Like, that was her big one. She's like, I can't wait to see Minnie. I was like, sorry, she's making the pancakes. They're cooking. They're in the kitchen.
It worked.
But overall, it was a good experience.
Baby's driving!
So overall, the trip was incredible. There's nothing that we look back at and be like, oh, we wish we would have done this differently, or we wish we would have done this or that. Aside from spending $35 in water, I think that's the one thing. But aside from that, it was so much fun. We had a great week. We got to do everything we wanted to do and see everything we wanted to see. The only thing is that maybe in the future, we might consider staying at a Disney property because it still does take about 25 to 30 minutes to get from a hotel off property to an actual park gate. So maybe we consider staying at a Disney property in the future just to save a little bit of time if we want to ball out a little bit. But overall, the window was great and we would stay there again in the future.
So we've been traveling and learning about credit cards so much over the last few years, and we're finally taking the time now to build out this channel, make more videos, and kind of just bring more content to you. So definitely leave a comment below with a question that you have about points, saving money, travel, luxury travel, anything that kind of comes to mind, so that way we can answer them in the future videos.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool trips coming up, exciting stuff planned.
I have a China trip coming up, so definitely some good content for you guys.
Yeah, so drop your questions below. We're happy to answer them, and we'll have some more videos coming out soon.